The battle between the CIA and the Senate Intelligence Committee, which is reviewing the conduct of the Bush administration and the practices of the Bush administration of enhanced interrogation and detention. That battle has gotten a lot of media attention this week. But I actually think it deserves more attention than it's gotten, and I'd like to point out why in this blog. On Tuesday, March 11, Dianne Feinstein accused the CIA and Director John Brennan specifically of stonewalling, obstructing, and otherwise intimidating the Senate committee. In her 45-minute speech, she offered lots of detail and showed us exactly how the stonewalling has taken place. The techniques of the CIA are all too familiar from bureaucratic organizations that want to avoid turning over documents. First of all, the CIA claimed that they needed to vet every one of the 5 million documents before they could send them to the Senate. What they did was they hired outside contractors to review these documents. So that allowed them to slow walk everything, slow down the process before the Senate could actually get its hands on the documents. Once that phase was over, they did the second standard technique of avoidance, which is that they offered a data dump. They simply dumped 5 million documents on the Senate with no index, no organization, no way of separating useful information from junk. So they gave the information to the Senate in a way that the staffers could in no way get their arms around all that information, or they certainly couldn't do it easily. Eventually what happened was that the Senate demanded some sort of a search tool by which they could impart some organization to this massive amount of data that they had received. And grudgingly, the CIA gave them a search tool. A tool of the sort that you would use in searching Google or searching the New York Times. And eventually what happened was, using this search tool, the Senate staffers came upon something called the Panetta Review, which was an internal review done for Leon Panetta during the time that he was the CIA director between the years 2009 and 2011. Well, the review was very critical of the Bush-era practices. Now, did it compromise national security? Did it reveal methods and operations? Would it imperil the country if the Panetta Review became public? Heck no. But the CIA did not want the Senate to have this document because it was critical, because it reached some of the same conclusions that the Senate staffers were reaching in their review of the documents, and they didn't want the Senate to have this document and quote from it because it would offer more credibility to their own criticisms of what happened during the years 2002 and 2006. So the CIA then began to take steps to get the document back. They searched computers of the Senate. They actually purged the document from Senate computers. They made an attempt to find out how the Senate had gotten a hold of this Panetta Review. But according to Dianne Feinstein, this was just a document that the staffers found in the normal course of their search of the documents that were available to them. There was nothing untoward or unethical going on. So here we are in a situation where John Brennan of the CIA is claiming that Senate staffers operated unethically and how they got a hold of the Panetta Review. The Senate is saying, well, not only were we not unethical, this review is actually quite useful to us, and it's a reasonable document for us to have, because many of its conclusions dovetail with our own. Both sides have referred the other side to the Justice Department on criminal complaints. So what we have is a highly embarrassing fight between two separate branches, the legislative and the executive branch of government, which all came to a head last week when Dianne Feinstein made this public. So that's the background. Here are my takeaways from it, and I have a point of view that I haven't heard expressed publicly. My first takeaway is, where is the president in all this? Why did this Senate investigation has been going on for 5 years. Why did the president allow the CIA to stonewall and try to thwart the investigation of the Senate? After all, the president has proclaimed as often as he could that he opposes torture, that he has stated that he ended torture in 2009 when he assumed the presidency. Why has he allowed John Brennan to exercise this attempt to subvert the Senate investigation? It makes no sense. It seems to me that the president owes us all an explanation. You know, there are certain things that a president can't reasonably be expected to know about or to have detailed knowledge of. A president can't know when the IRS is acting incompetently. That's not his purview. A president can't know or micromanage a website for the Affordable Care Act. He depends on his IT people for that. But this situation, which is a high-profile relationship between the CIA and the Senate, the president has known about for years. Furthermore, when she has felt frustrated along the way, Dianne Feinstein has gone to the White House counsel to complain about the stalling techniques of the CIA. The president should have known and would have known about this. The fact that he has sat idly by while the CIA has stonewalled the Senate Intelligence Committee is rather extraordinary. And I think that the president owes us an explanation of why he hasn't been more proactive about this. Everything that Dianne Feinstein said was true. It seems to me that it's a firing offense on the part of John Brennan. But at the very least, the president owes us an explanation of what his role was or wasn't in this whole matter. My second takeaway from this is inevitably there are apologists for the CIA who take the position that we don't remember the tension, the fear, the hysteria that we all felt back then. We don't remember all the demands for the government to do something to combat terrorism. And so we should give the CIA a pass on its behavior because we were all complicit in it. I don't accept that idea at all. There was enormous fear, tension, and hysteria during World War II, during the time that the Japanese were interned. That doesn't make it proper behavior. Some of the worst government actions occur during periods of hysteria. McCarthyism arose out of the Red Scare hysteria of the 50s, but it was still highly improper, and it's a blight on our history. Constitutional provisions, laws, and treaties don't exist only in times of peace. We didn't sign the Geneva Conventions under the proviso that we're only going to follow these notions during times of peace. During times of war, all bets are off. To the contrary, the Geneva Conventions exist explicitly to guide our behavior during times of war. Just as the Constitution doesn't simply exist in good times and then we can shred it during bad times. So the notion that, we don't remember the tension of 2003, 2004, and that allows the CIA to run roughshod over the Constitution, for me that's a dangerous idea and a ridiculous idea. My final takeaway from this episode is, as a nation, we've talked quite a bit over the past several years about bullying. Whether it's online bullying or bullying in NFL locker rooms or bullying in domestic situations. Well, this was clearly another episode of attempted bullying. I believe that the CIA looked at Dianne Feinstein and said, look, she's soft-spoken, she plays by the rules, she's not a shouter, so we can push this chick as far as we want to, because she's really not going to fight back. Let's do our best to intimidate her. We can slow down the work of her committee, and maybe we can get a better final result when their review comes out by putting more pressure on her. Well, it turned out that they underestimated this chick, Because when they referred her staffers to the Justice Department on a criminal complaint, they pushed her one step too far. And Senator Feinstein, to her great credit, fought back and punched them in the jaw. So let's see what happens in this situation, because this is a sort of a defining example of how democracies review and police themselves. Do we have the strength as a country to look at our bad behavior, make it public, and learn from it? Or are we in another situation where we push something under the rug and pretend it didn't happen? Let's see whether truth survives in the battle between the Senate and the CIA. I'm Jeff Rowan. I'll see you next time.